Good morning, friends. Let's begin together with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, our friend Swami Kriyananda, humbly we bow before all of you. Bless us today. Help us to become firmly established in thy peace. Help us to drink deeply from the wells of inner silence, of perfect relaxation. And out of that peace, O reveal thy symphony of divine joy, of perfect understanding. Om, peace. Amen. So today we are going to move into one of the all-time classic pieces of the Ananda repertoire of music, and it is the song entitled Peace. And this song has a lot of fun stories about it and is a very effective piece of music. I just learned that Swami wrote this song for the play The Singer and the Nightingale, and apparently he wanted to write a song that was only on one note, and he actually writes that he said he intended it for it to be somewhat comical, but that the song had its own vibration, and the song had its own destiny, so to speak, and that as soon as it came out, this is what came. And the song is very hymn-like almost, and is very sacred, and has a very expanded sattvic feeling to it. And Swami writes about how this just goes to show the nature of true creativity, that when the inspiration comes, it has its own flow, and that we can't control it necessarily. But I'm really grateful that he didn't try to control or change it, because this is such a gem of a song and gives us much to learn. And so let's go ahead and sing it once, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more deeply, and examine some of its component elements. And if you haven't heard this song before, this is probably the easiest song to learn, because it's all on one note, and the only thing that changes are the lyrics. So please sing with me if you're able to, and if not, I invite you, and even if you can, let's take a moment and sit upright. Let's take an inhalation through the nose, and exhale and release any anxieties from the heart, preparing ourselves to feel the presence of God's peace within us. Peace gave us the mountains, peace gave us the sky. Nightly when starlight enfolds us, peace is its lullaby. Amen. Peace gave us the morning, peace gave us the sun, bird songs that call us to welcome day and fresh labors begun. Amen. Amen. gave us the seasons. Peace gave us the rain. Cool clouds that gather to bless us. Mist hands that soothe away pain. Peace gave us our heart's love. Peace gave us our smiles. Rays of God's presence within us. Light that all strife reconciles. And let's just pause and feel for a moment the deep vibration of this piece of music. And try to receive whatever message it has for you, for your heart today. Om. Peace. Amen. When I was a choir director, or the Ananda LA choir director, I brought this piece in for our little choir to perform. And as we began learning it, I told people, okay, so now we're going to really try and tune into the melody. And I told every part, every different section, which is a common piece of advice, I said, try and tune into the melody. See if every note you sing, you can be referring back to the melody. Know how you are fitting in to the context of the melody. And someone asked, and then when I was getting some interesting looks, I recognized that most people didn't understand which part was the melody. And I pointed out that this melody, this part, is the melody. And this in the choir arrangement is sung by the bass section, which is very uncommon. And so this song breaks a number of common structures. Normally the sopranos sing the melody, and normally the melody is very melodic. And in this case, the song is on a single pitch and is sung by the basses. And it's very interesting because it acts almost as a drone for the rest of the moving parts of the four-part harmony to move around it. But what's very interesting is if you sing this piece, oh, that's funny, the double entendre, I keep thinking that every time I say that. If you sing this song without this bass melody, it feels incomplete. It feels completely insubstantial. And actually, as it happens, just last week, I got together with some friends here in Palo Alto, which was really thrilling. And we're creating a little ragtag string quartet. And I say ragtag just because we're just beginning. Who knows, maybe we'll become quite refined in time. But we began by playing some of Swami's pieces. And we selected this as one of the ones that we'd like to practice. And being the cellist, I was assigned the melody, just the bees gave us the mountains, just that line, which on the cello, as I'll show you in a moment, is even less intellectually stimulating. And so as we were playing it in the quartet, I was playing my part, and I think I was playing it fairly well. But then after, playing it once or twice through, one of the violinists said, I'm having a hard time really hearing the melody. And again, I said, well, I can play a little bit louder if you like. And so we played it again, and I played more robustly. And then we finished and she said, no, it's still not quite working. And I realized, oh, I know what's going on here. I said, oh, you mean the soprano part. You're having a hard time hearing the soprano part. And so just for fun, I switched over and I began to play the soprano part, which is not the melody, but it is more melodic by traditional standards. And what was very interesting is when I left this part, when I left the actual melody, this consistent bass note, for the other passage, the whole sound dropped away. And as we heard the other parts, the song lacked all of its magnetism. It was no longer this majestic invitation to an inner experience of God's peace. It was very interesting to me because it was very stark. As soon as we started, I thought, oh my gosh, it's totally lost its soul. Without that underpinning melody of the bass note of peace, the whole song doesn't work. So I share this because the temptation with this song is to allow our intellects to tell us that nothing's going on, and to allow us to try and trick us into thinking that it doesn't warrant our attention, and to go off and play with the sopranos on their rolling passages or with the tenors or whatever it may be, or just not to sing it at all. But remember that when Swami recorded this piece of music on an album as a solo, this is the part he sang. And it's a piano accompaniment, and over the top he just sings this single note melody throughout. There's a lot of elegance in it, which I'll come to in just a moment, but please, pay attention to it. Give it its due. I encourage you this week to try singing this song as an act of meditation, as an act of attunement, because it really is that for many reasons. Even musically, singing a single pitch is actually quite a lot harder than you might think. When I sang this as a solo a number of years ago at a gathering, I thought to myself, oh, no problem, I don't even really need to practice it. They asked me if I could sing it on very short notice, and I brushed it off, no problem. And then I went and practiced it in our rehearsal, and it was challenging. It's challenging to sing with subtle feeling, with awareness, and even the pitch can wander. And now this is very interesting because we talk about on the spiritual path, we talk about attunement. And that is a very fitting metaphor, especially when it comes to music. Because if I were to play a note, which in this case is the note C, peace gave us the mountains. Attunement would mean being able to tune into the essential vibration, that first vibration, and stay with it, to penetrate into the heart of it, to become one with it. That's literally like when we talk about in music, your intonation, how in tune are you? It's how close to the center of the pitch are you? But so in a song like this, if you're not careful, it would be really easy to do something like, peace gave us the mountains. And I don't know if you can hear that, but my pitch is wobbling around a little bit. And so this song helps us, through even the musicality of it, to tune into the heart of peace. Because it actually takes a lot of conscious awareness to keep the pitch very, very true. Now, the other thing that this melody does for us is the song is about peace. And we all have our own, I say the word peace, and that conjures up a particular feeling in your heart, which might be slightly different from what's in mine. But ultimately, the words and anything we could try to say to express that feeling is just a road map, or just a sign on a road pointing towards the destination of that experience of God's consciousness. But what's interesting is the fact that this note stays the same is the message of the song. That if you listen to the lyrics, it's saying peace is the foundation of the very universe, that unchanging consciousness of God's peace. From that sprung everything. From that springs the very mountains, the foundations of this very earth. From that peace sprung the sky, the most expansive, vast thing we can see during the day. From that peace came the distant twinkling stars, which enfold us in their peace at night. And then what's beautiful is every verse, he becomes a little less, it seems to me that every verse becomes a little more abstract. First, he begins with the mountains, with the very cradle of this physical universe, was birthed from the vibration of peace. And then in the second, he talks about the morning, which now we all have an association with the morning, that mornings also have a metaphor for new beginnings, for fresh starts. He says, peace give us the sun, bird songs that call us to welcome day and fresh labor begun. And so again, this is a literal experience that we all have, but is also a metaphor for how to live, and saying that peace is the essence of that attitude, which of course all of us would love to have. How would you love to wake up every morning and hear the bird songs and feel that it was God welcoming you to embrace the new day? It would be delightful. Then in the third verse, he says, peace gave us the seasons. And now the seasons are what change every year. Peace is what gives us even the variety of life. That even though it's that single steady tone, from it springs all the different colors of the flowers. Peace gave us the seasons. Peace gave us the rain. Cool clouds that gather to bless us. Mist hands that soothe away pain. Isn't that wonderful? There's also so much to be seen in here about recognizing the divine within all aspects of creation, and that when we live in peace, we can see that. And then the fourth verse, peace gave us our heart's love. Peace gave us our smiles. Rays of God's presence within us, light that all strife reconciles. What a magnificent final verse that is, that from that bedrock of peace comes our love, comes our ability to smile, our ability to feel joy, and that presence of God within us, rays of God's presence within us, is the light that reconciles all strife, all suffering. Wonderful, isn't it? What a thing to contemplate. So this song, Swamiji writes in his Antidotes for Negative Emotions, is the antidote to anxiety, and probably a host of other things. But this song, he also writes, he says, peace is the beginning of true understanding. I actually have the direct quote here, which I'd like to share. He says, from the heart of peace alone comes understanding. Isn't that magnificent? We should all ponder on that deeply. That if we would wish to understand anything, understand ourselves, our place in the world, how to be happy, that we have to come from that vibration of peace. So this song is not just a simple, forgettable melody on a single note, but has so much to give to us. And especially at this time, when perhaps we're concerned or worried or anxious about the state of the world, sing a song like this. Sing this song. Allow it to transform your consciousness. I've been singing it in preparation for this and for another reason in my own life. And I've found that just singing this a few times can completely change the feeling of the vibration in my heart. That I sing this a few times while I'm doing something mundane, like my morning routine, while I'm making my breakfast, and it changes the way I can rest in myself. So peace really is the bedrock. I've also heard Swamiji say peace is the soil from which all other spiritual experiences will bloom. So we should all pay attention to the quality of peace in our lives and in our hearts, because it is of the utmost importance. Let's listen together just to the melody. And let's try to tune in to that quality of peace, even without the words. Let's see if just through the rhythm, through the constant hum of this note, if we can feel our soul's remembrance of the presence of God's peace. Let's sit upright and close our eyes. Peace gave us the sky, nightly when starlight enfolds us. Peace is its lullaby. Peace gave us the morning, peace gave us the sun, bird songs that call us to welcome day and fresh labors begun. Peace gave us the seasons, peace gave us the rain, cool clouds that gather to bless us, mist hands that soothe away pain. Peace gave us our heart's love, peace gave us our smiles, rays of God's presence within us, night that all strife reconciles. And pause and feel in the heart for that vibration of peace, for God's presence within you, the light that all strife reconciles. Try to feel this peace expanding within your heart. Filling your brain. And visualize for a moment this peace permeating through you, permeating every part of the day to come. Imagine the fragrance of this peace flowing out from your heart to bless all that you come into contact with, every circumstance, every decision, every moment. Let's try to live in that peace this week, my friends. Until next time.